Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 5 of the Big Fight Fuel podcast. This is the last podcast before WrestleMania. You guys are in for a good one today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joseph Conlin here today with episode number 5 of the Big Fight Fuel podcast here on Saturday, April 3rd, 2021. We got a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff to talk about today here on the Big Fight Fuel channel, as we are just officially 7 days away from the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania, on next Saturday, April 10th, and next Saturday, April 11th. We got a lot to talk about today with the topic of discussion: why WWE needs to have a very successful WrestleMania next weekend. Also to be talked about today, we got a big shocker yesterday as to be who will be the next guest on Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skulls session. It broke the internet yesterday, and today I give my thoughts here on the podcast. Also, I didn't talk about this last night because I saved it for today. WWE announced a WrestleMania Smackdown coming up this Friday on Fox. I got a lot to say about that as well. All of this and so much more here today on the Big Fight Fuel podcast. So once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in today on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. This is the last podcast, like I said, before we kickstart WrestleMania week on Monday, all the way until next Sunday's WrestleMania 37, Night 2. And let me tell you, man, it is going to be a busy, busy week next week. I am just going to go ahead and promote all the things that are going to be happening next week right now. I will do my usual start, and then we are going to kick right in to everything to be talked about today on the podcast. I think you guys are going to love this episode. So if you haven't already, be sure to sit back, relax, and bring your favorite drink with you. Of course, I don't have my favorite drink today because at the time of recording on Saturday, it is 10 a.m., and I'm not having a soda at 10 a.m. So, no drink for me today. But for you guys who have a drink, sit back, relax, make sure you have your favorite drink, and enjoy the podcast. But let me talk about the schedule here on the channel, and basically my entire schedule next week, because it is absolutely insane. I think it's going to be one of the craziest weeks I have ever been a part of here on the Big Fight Field channel. It's going to be insane. We're going to start off on Monday, where we have NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver preview and predictions with my co-host for NXT, Mr. Cameron Johnson. That is going to be on Monday afternoon. So Monday, we're already starting off with a double upload because then Monday night, we're going to review Monday Night Raw, which the advertised main event is Drew McIntyre versus King Corbin. King Corbin. I wonder how that match is going to do in the ratings against the NCAA championship game. Good luck on that one, Bruce and Vince. So that's Monday. Tuesday, I'm going to be appearing on the CNE podcast. That is with, of course, my NXT co-host Cameron Johnson and his co-host, Escobar Morales, as I'm going to be on the CNE podcast to do a Would You Rather for WrestleMania. We're going to talk about past WrestleManias. WrestleMania 17, which I just watched yesterday. WrestleMania 27, I believe. WrestleMania 32, and a lot more WrestleMania. So I'm looking forward to appearing on the CNE podcast next week. We move into Wednesday now. We have preview and predictions of WrestleMania on my channel with the Blue Riot, Colton. His Blue Riot, a.k.a. Colton. He is going to be on the channel once again. The last time he was on the channel, I think, was around Survivor Series, and he's going to be on here for WrestleMania as long as myself. He is going to WrestleMania as well. So I'm very excited to have him on the channel. And then we move into Thursday. We move into Thursday. I will be on Gamers Goons YouTube channel for a collaboration for preview and predictions for WrestleMania over onto his channel. So if you guys have not already, be sure to go subscribe to Gamers Goons YouTube channel. He's actually very close to 400 subscribers, just as I am. So be sure to subscribe to his channel so you don't miss this massive collaboration. I think DJ Storms is going to be a part of that as well. So that should be a lot of fun on Thursday. And then also Thursday night here on the Big Fight Field channel, we are going to have NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1 and Night 2 review. There is no review on Wednesday night since I'm going to have WrestleMania predictions here on the channel on Wednesday. So I'm going to combine both Night 1 and Night 2 into a separate review that night. That night. So that's going to be a long review here on the Big Fight Field channel. I can't wait to talk about TakeOver. Then Friday, I am going to be once again appearing on the channel for WrestleMania 37 preview and predictions. I am actually going to be on the Furious Nation YouTube channel with Nicholas Fiore. I'm going to be on his show. I can't wait for that. Shout out to you, Nick Fiore. I can't wait to talk to you again and be on your channel for a collaboration on your channel. I'm very excited for that one. And Friday, I don't think there's going to be anything here on the channel. I think I'm just going to take Friday to relax. As far as my WrestleMania vlogs go, I will be at Raymond James Stadium, of course. I know a lot of people that are going. I know my friend, he's an OG on the channel. You guys know him as Eddie Mullins. He's actually going to WrestleMania with me. So he's going to be there. He's probably going to be a part of the vlog. He'll definitely be a part of the vlog, actually. So he's going to be back for WrestleMania weekend. He's going to WrestleMania with me. I know my good friend Nathan Hansen is going to be there at WrestleMania. Colton is also going to be there at WrestleMania. And he was just on the channel, Bonafide Heat. I think he's going to be at WrestleMania as well. So there's a lot of people that I know that are going to be at WrestleMania. I don't know how the vlogs is going to go out. It depends probably when I get home on Saturday. If I get home at like 12 a.m., I'm probably later than that. I'm probably just going to upload the vlog Sunday morning and then upload the Night 2 vlog Monday morning before I leave. So that is next week. Man, that's one crazy schedule, man. That is one crazy schedule. But let's talk about WrestleMania. And before we do, if you guys have not already, be sure to check out this week's reviews here on the channel. We have, of course, we have, of course, Monday Night Raw from Monday night. We have AEW from Wednesday night, which absolutely killed it this week. It is the most viewed Dynamite review here on the channel yet, so I want to thank each and every one of you who tuned in for the Dynamite review on Wednesday night, and we finished off the month strong with about 250 views, so I very much appreciate that. Thursday, we have NXT with Cameron Johnson. And then last night, we did a short SmackDown review here on the channel. All of those videos are available on the channel, so if you have not already, be sure to go check them out. All right, man. Let's start today's podcast with the topic of discussion for episode 5. I was going to save this for next week, but with my crazy schedule, I'm probably not going to have a podcast next week, as you guys already know, probably. So I put it on for this week. Why WWE needs to have a very successful WrestleMania 37 this year at Raymond James Stadium. This needs to be very successful. And I say that for a bunch of reasons. I could go on and on and on why this needs to be a good show, but I'm going to stick. First thing I'm going to say is, number one, it's WrestleMania. You should always have the mindset of we're going to put on a great show for our fans, and this is the biggest wrestling show of the year. It's WrestleMania. So WWE every year should be like, we are going to set the bar for what pay-per-view should be with our biggest show of the year, WrestleMania. We need to set the bar for the rest of the year. It hasn't happened in the past, of course, but it needs to be. It's WrestleMania. You should want it to be a huge success, and it's a pay-per-view that nobody should ever forget. In my opinion, it's WrestleMania. I mean, who's going to forget WrestleMania? I mean, last year, I get the only match I really go back and watch from last year's WrestleMania was the Boneyard match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker. That's probably like the only match I go back and watch from last year's WrestleMania. But besides that, I don't really go back and spend time to watch other matches that happened in the empty Performance Center. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, and I think this is actually the biggest one. You have been in a pandemic. Not just the WWE. The entire world has been in a global pandemic for over a year now. Okay? WWE started out in the Performance Center. Those shows were horrible. I mean, horrible. The shows at the Performance Center. Then you move to the Thunderdome for August. What are we in now? We're in April. 8 months. 8 months in the Thunderdome. The shows are horrible too. And now we have fans. There will be 25,000 to 30,000 fans each night at WrestleMania. And people like me want to go to WrestleMania this year. They want to be there. They want to spend their money on the biggest show of the year. So what you need to do is you need to make the fans money's worth. You need to make the fans money's worth by going out there, putting on a good show, letting people have a good time, and give people a night, 2 nights that they will never forget. These people there are people that have been going to a WWE show in over a year, myself included. And there's people looking to go out and go to a live sporting event. The vaccine is getting, it's decreasing and all that stuff. There's capacities at sporting events. Opening day just happened. I think the Texas Rangers, they are selling out. They're selling out their stadium for opening night on Monday. So there are legit people going out for sporting events and for WWE. They haven't had fans since, I think, Elimination Chamber. And I was at that show, too. So, for the fans' sake, you need to go out and for these people, get their money's worth. These people, myself included, I know I've said that a bunch of times, but I'm sorry, I'm just making myself an example since I'm going. There are people who paid thousands and thousands of dollars for next weekend to book a flight, get a rental car, buy rent a hotel, money for dinner or whatever, tickets for WrestleMania. There's people, and it's not cheap. It's very expensive. These people spent thousands and thousands of dollars for this entire weekend. So what you need to do is you need to go out there. You need to make those you need to make those people's money's worth. You can't have them be like, "Oh, I feel like I didn't get my money's worth on the show. I would have been better off if I went to a WrestleMania in a later date." Now you need the motivation for people that are going to WrestleMania this year to be like, "Wow, that was absolutely amazing. And it's probably a night I'm never going to forget." That's probably a night I'm never going to forget because it's my first WrestleMania. But I would be stupid if I were to say I don't care if it's a good or bad show. No, I obviously want a good show at WrestleMania. Why wouldn't I? That would be idiotic of myself to say, "Oh, you know what? Whether it's good or bad, I don't care. I'm just going to be there and enjoy it." Obviously, I want it to be good. The last pay-per-view I went to before the pandemic was a good pay-per-view, I thought. Elimination Chamber. It's pretty fun. It's also pretty cool how, just to bring this up for a little bit, it's also pretty cool how I was at the last WWE pay-per-view before the pandemic hit. Now I'm going to be at the first WWE pay-per-view with fans back. That's awesome. That's pretty awesome. But that's my main point for WrestleMania. We all know, too. I bring up another point before I move on to the news this week. We all know that the talent is going to bust their ass and try to put on the best matches they possibly could for the fans they haven't seen in over a year. We already know the talent will do their part. Can upper management and Vince and Bruce, can they do their part for making WrestleMania a good show creatively? Can they do it creatively? Can they put on a WrestleMania that people want? WWE needs to have a good There's going to be a lot of people watching too. I already know people that are not really wrestling fans, they're casuals, but they tune in every year to watch WrestleMania. And maybe SummerSlam, maybe. But most of them tune in every year to watch WrestleMania. You don't want them to get a bad reaction, do you? You don't want those people that have been watching, that are signing up for Peacock for $250 a month to watch the biggest show of the year and be disappointed. You don't want that, do you? I know I don't. I want a good WrestleMania. I want a very good WrestleMania from the WWE. And I really hope we get one because this year's WrestleMania needs to be it needs to be very successful. So now we're going to move into the news and rumors part of the podcast. We got 7 topics today to talk about. We are going to start off big, actually. I got a lot to say about this. So, excuse me. So I didn't talk about this last night on SmackDown because I figured I would save it today for the podcast, and I would actually have more to talk about if I saved it for today than I did last night on SmackDown Review. So, Thursday afternoon, it was announced by Adam Pearce on whatever live stream WWE was doing that WWE was going to hold WrestleMania Smackdown next Friday, which is a day before WrestleMania. They're going to hold WrestleMania Smackdown on April 9th, which will feature the WWE Universe hearing from Daniel Bryan, Edge, and Roman Reigns before their triple threat match on Night 2 of WrestleMania. It'll also feature a Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, with the Dirty Dogs defending the titles against Otis and Gable, Alpha Academy, Rey Mysterio and Dominic, and the Street Profits. And then also announced WWE it's gonna hold its annual Andrade the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on WrestleMania Smackdown next Friday. And I have the participants right here for the Andrade the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. We're going to go over them real quick. We have Akira Tozawa, Angel Garza, Cedric Alexander. So he goes from Raw Tag Team Champion, getting kicked out of the Hurt Business, and now he's thrusted into the Andre the Giant Worthless Memorial Battle Royal. Great. Cedric Alexander, right from the Hurt Business to the Battle Royal on SmackDown. Drew Gulak, Elias, Eric of the Viking Raiders, Gran Metalik, Humberto Carrillo, Jackson Riker, main event, Jey Uso. Michael Cole was calling Jey Uso last night. Main event, Jey Uso. I don't think you could be calling him main event Jey Uso if he's being placed in the damn Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Jeez. Kalisto, Baron Corbin. Great. We get to see Baron Corbin face Drew McIntyre on Monday night. And then on Friday night, he's in this Battle Royal. Great. Lince Dorado, Mace, Murphy, Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, Shelton Benjamin. Same thing could be said about him as Cedric Alexander. Shinsuke Nakamura. You remember when Shinsuke Nakamura lasted long in that gauntlet match to go on and face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble? He had a very good gauntlet match, and people thought that WWE was going to push Shinsuke Nakamura on the road to WrestleMania. Look where he is. Slapjack, T-Bar, and Tucker. I feel like I'm going to have a lot to say about this, and I do have a lot to say about this. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is I'm okay with not everybody being on WrestleMania. Not every single person in the WWE locker room has to be on WrestleMania card every year. It just doesn't happen that way. That's not That's not good business. Just put everybody on the show this way, and we could see this and see that. Let's just get everybody on the show. I don't like that mentality at all. I hate it, actually. So, I'm okay with everybody. I'm okay with everybody not being on the show. But, you mean to tell me, if this was one night, I wouldn't have a problem with it. And here is when I come in and I give my criticisms. And this isn't much for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, because I don't care about the Battle Royal. We'll talk about that in a little bit. This is specifically for the Fatal 4-Way SmackDown Tag Team title match. Now, is this match going to be a match that everybody looks forward to? No. No, absolutely not. Is this match been built for a couple weeks now for a possible Fatal 4-Way match at WrestleMania? Yes. Is there some good talent is there some good talent involved in this Fatal 4-Way match? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. So here's what I come in with my criticism, folks. So you mean to tell me, okay? You mean to tell me that you have not one, but 2 nights. You have 2 nights of WrestleMania this year, and you can't get a spot on the card for these 4 tag teams. You can't get a spot on the card for your tag team championships on SmackDown. That tells me a few things. Number 1, WWE doesn't give a damn. They don't give a damn about those SmackDown tag team championships. That's the first thing. Number 2, they honestly don't care about most of these talent. If they're just going to, you know what? We can't get you a spot on WrestleMania, but we're going to put you on WrestleMania Smackdown. First of all, you're just throwing the word WrestleMania in there, so they have that hyped up mentality, like, oh, this is going to be a part of WrestleMania and stuff. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're fighting on SmackDown, the show that these guys have matches on every single week. They're not fighting on WrestleMania Smackdown. No, they're fighting on SmackDown on Fox on Friday nights. That sucks to be them, man. They've been building the match. I'm not saying, it's been fantastic build. How dare they not put this match on the card? And this is a match that people would be looking forward to and all that stuff. I'm not saying that. But this has been a match that WWE has been building for a couple weeks. And you're just going to throw it on SmackDown. And you can't find a spot for them at WrestleMania. You can't put these 4 tag teams in a match on night 2 or night 1 of WrestleMania. I don't like that at all. I don't like the fact that they put this match on SmackDown. I'll talk about the Battle Royal in a bit, but for this match, I do feel like you could put it on WrestleMania. You could. And you could have the fine match. I'm sure the Mysterios are going to win. It would have been much better if they got their WrestleMania moment in front of actual fans. How many of these guys, I bet you all of these guys were really looking forward to getting out there and performing in front of 25,000 people for the first time in over a year. They were really looking forward to that, I bet. Now it got taken away from them. Now that opportunity got taken away from them. And now they're wrestling for the tag team titles in the Thunderdome on SmackDown. Don't let WWE think Don't let them let you think that since it says the word WrestleMania, that it's a part of WrestleMania. It's not. They're fighting on SmackDown. And if I'm any of these 8 guys, I'm very pissed. I am very pissed that I got shafted to the sideline and I can't perform at WrestleMania, knowing that I've been in this build for a multi-man match for a couple weeks now. I would be pissed. And then we have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I don't necessarily care about this. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is worthless. It is absolutely worthless. What do you really win by winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal? A trophy? You win a trophy to carry around for 2 weeks until it gets broken. So, for me personally, I don't really care that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is on SmackDown, but there's guys in there who shouldn't be in the Battle Royal that could be in better things than this. You have Cedric Alexander, who's just in the Hurt Business. I'm sure he would much rather play a factor into the WWE Championship match with Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley than being the freaking Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Who else do you have in there? Jey Uso. You call him main event Jey Uso. Meanwhile, he's in a Battle Royal, which means nothing. It means nothing. He should not be in there. He is better than the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. How about Ali? I know Ali is much better than the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and he can have a better place at WrestleMania than he is right now. It's sad. Shelton Benjamin. Again, you could say the same thing about Shelton Benjamin with Cedric Alexander. I'm sure he would much rather play a factor into the WWE Championship match than be a part of this Battle Royal. And then you have Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura could be in a Intercontinental Championship match or something like that at WrestleMania. But the fact that you put him in the Battle Royal and you had him in the middle of this feud with Seth Rollins and Cesaro, and then he disappears. He disappears just like that. That is sad. That right there, folks, that's very sad. And I don't necessarily care that the Battle Royal is on SmackDown, but what I do care about is the talent that's in this Battle Royal that deserve better than being in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Guys like Humberto Carrillo, Elias, Eric of the Viking Raiders, Jackson Riker, the Lucha House Party. If you want to put them in the Battle Royal, by all means, go ahead. I don't care. I don't care about those guys. But guys like Ali and the Hurt Business, Cedric and Shelton Benjamin, and Jey Uso and Nakamura, they deserve better. They deserve much better than the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So, that's that for that topic of discussion. And now we're going to move on to The Miz. The Miz was in a recent interview with Sports Bar Radio, where he said, I don't think anyone understands how much he cares about us and the fans, meaning Vince McMahon. So The Miz had this to say on Sports Bar Radio. Sometimes I don't think the audience may know how much Vince McMahon cares, not just about the talent and shows but about every employee under the WWE wing. He cares about the fans. I don't think anyone understands how much he cares and how much work he does to make sure the audience goes home with exactly what they want. That the superstars have a great and healthy life. That his employees are happy, and he really goes in depth and surrounds himself with talented people to make sure his vision gets across. He then spoke about The Miz then spoke about his relationship with Vince McMahon. He said, Vince has always been a big supporter of myself. I think he enjoys my work ethic as well as my talents. I think he sees the ability that I have and is able to showcase me in Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, commercials, whatever WWE needs. So that was the interview about The Miz's part. I want to talk about the part that The Miz said about Vince McMahon. You know, that's all cool for The Miz to say that. He can easily, he can easily go. Any superstar really could easily just go out there and say, "Oh, you know, Vince McMahon cares. Vince McMahon cares about the talent. Vince McMahon cares about what the fans think and all that stuff." But when you look at the reality of it, man, if Vince McMahon actually did care about the talent, and not the talent, because I understand that you really can't push everybody on the shows. Not everybody can be the world champion, but I would like to see more young talent on the shows than talent that WWE had like 10, 15 years ago that are still top superstars. Like, there's going to be a new generation of superstars that come in once these guys retire. Randy Orton's not going to be... I'm just using these guys as an example. Randy Orton's not going to be there forever. The Miz is not going to be there forever. Sheamus is not going to be there forever. Who else is... Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's not going to be there forever. So you're going to need guys like Matt Riddle and Mustafa Ali and Chad Gable. I'm just examples. You're going to need those guys to be the forefront of your company. And what's going to happen when these top guys leave in like a few years? You're not going to have any top guys because you didn't push them. You didn't push them when they were in their prime. So I would like to see Vince push some new talent on the roster. I'm not saying they need to be the WWE champion. They need to be the Universal champion. I just want to see them get some TV time, have some good matches, and put them in a good storyline. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for Ricochet to be the WWE champion. But he then says he cares about the talent, which we already talked about. He cares about the shows. He says Vince McMahon cares about the shows. That's a little funny to me, because if Vince McMahon cared about the shows, we wouldn't have got what we got on Monday night. We wouldn't have got Shane McMahon reading Braun Strowman's 5th grade report card. We wouldn't have got two grown men and Miz and Morrison in buddy costumes saying, "Hey, hey, hop, hop." We wouldn't have gotten AJ Styles playing charades and Pictionary and the build to a match at WrestleMania. We wouldn't have gotten... We wouldn't have waited 3 hours for Baron Corbin to show up and take Bobby Lashley's offer. But we did. We got all of that. And Monday Night Raw has been absolute dog shit for all of 2021. So, you tell me, do you think Vince McMahon cares about the weekly shows, or do you think Vince McMahon does not care about the weekly shows? So I think on that part, The Miz is wrong. The Miz on that part, he is wrong. Moving on here for more WrestleMania news. It looks like that WWE will not have a kickoff match on night one of WrestleMania. And the reason of that being is, according to WrestleVotes, let me pull it up here. I know it's according to WrestleVotes, but here we go. According to WrestleVotes, WWE is looking to have a big first entrant with fans back on night one WrestleMania. So it looks like there might not be a kickoff match to happen on night one. Okay. So there's no kickoff match on the first night of WrestleMania. There's no kickoff match. So what this tells me is we're going to get a big... WWE wants to give us a big surprise, or a big guy, a big name to come out first, to have the first big entrance at WrestleMania. And to me, it's down to three people. I think either the McMahons, maybe they want to be the first ones out to welcome the fans back over a year, give a speech, Triple H, Stephanie, Vince. Maybe they want to be the first ones out to properly welcome back the WWE Universe to, going to shows. So maybe the McMahons open up. Another one I think could it be, and it would not be a good reception, is Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil are the host of WrestleMania, and they could easily do the same thing as WrestleMania 35 and WrestleMania 33 and have Alexa Bliss, when she came out, she was the first person out. She was the host of WrestleMania for that year. WWE could easily just trot out Titus O'Neil and Hulk Hogan to welcome back the WWE Universe, hype up WrestleMania, all that stuff that the hosts do every year. They could have, they could have, they could have Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil do the same thing. So then the final one that I could possibly think of is Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre didn't get his proper WrestleMania moment last year. He won the championship in the Performance Center against Brock Lesnar. He's always talking about how he misses the fans and all that stuff. And I think if Drew McIntyre would be the first person out on WrestleMania stage, I think people would not have a problem with that. And if Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley is not going to main event night one, which I think it shouldn't, I would personally, going by how, I don't care, like, the build has been so bad for Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. It has not been good at all. But for me personally, I would have the ladies. I would have Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair main event night one of WrestleMania. And if that's the case, then I would have Drew McIntyre be the first big entrance at WrestleMania. And I would have him and Bobby Lashley open up the show, and Drew McIntyre wins the WWE Championship to open up WrestleMania. I don't think there's a better way to open up the show. If it doesn't close the show, of course. There's no better way to open up WrestleMania with Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. So that's my thoughts on possibly no kickoff match on night one, which again I would not have a problem with. But for the first person to come out and have a big entrance, I think who better than Drew McIntyre? Who better? Just like Brian Cage says, who better than Drew McIntyre? We got some New Japan news to talk about right now. It was revealed late Monday night, that they revealed a brand new IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. The old IWGP World Heavyweight Championship was retired. So was the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. There is no longer the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. So there goes the most beautiful title in wrestling, I think. It was the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. That thing was a thing of beauty. Now, this championship, I'm sure most of you have seen, but I'll show it to you once again. I'll bring it back a little bit. There it is. The brand new IWGP Heavyweight Championship. You either like it or you don't like it. For me personally, it looks okay. I'm just going to say it looks okay. Is it better than the old World Championship? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, man. And it's not better than the old championship, but it doesn't look bad either. I'm not saying it looks terrible. It just looks okay for me personally. But it looks like a combination, and I know if people have been saying it on social media, but the first thing I got a reaction of, this looks exactly like Cody Rhodes' neck tattoo that he has on his neck. It looks exactly like that. For me, that's exactly what this new championship looks like. So, I mean, I haven't watched New Japan in a while, but for the new championship, excuse me, I thought it was newsworthy. I thought I'd talk about it for a bit on here and give my thoughts on the new championship. And yeah, just talk about a little bit New Japan and all that stuff. So, overall, I think the championship is okay. We got 3 more topics left here today on the podcast. I feel like I'm going to have a lot to say on this one, too. It's basically two news, but I've combined it into one topic. And it involves recently released WWE superstar Andrade. Oh boy. A lot of news came out of Andrade's interview with Lucha Libre Online, but I got 2 news topics to talk about. It's the 2 biggest ones, I think, that happened in the interview, and I'll have a lot to say on this. So, while speaking with Lucha Libre Online, Andrade spoke about his WWE release, revealing that he asked for it 15 days ago to this past Monday. Something like that, I'm not sure. He asked for its release, and WWE accepted and granted it a week or so later. Andrade says, about 15 days ago, 2 things happened. When I asked for my release, it was on a Monday. The following day, I had things with the company, and I got COVID, and my girlfriend also tested positive, that being Charlotte Flair. No one knows about this. I got COVID, and after I got it on Sunday, roughly a week after getting COVID, I got a call, and they gave me the release. It was what I wanted. In the same interview, Andrade revealed that the WWE doctors falsely stated that his fiancée, Charlotte Flair, was pregnant. That was the reason. He claims that WWE decided to pull Flair out of WWE television. In an interview with Lucha Libre, Andrade said that WWE pulled Charlotte Flair, this is now from Ringside News, because they said she was pregnant. So they thought that Charlotte Flair, the WWE doctors thought that Charlotte Flair was actually pregnant. They thought that she was pregnant, and she then went to a pharmacy. She then went to a local pharmacy, and the pharmacy doctors said that she is not pregnant, and the test came back negative. So after all, the WWE doctors lied to Charlotte Flair. And hold on a second. Something just popped up on my phone. There we go. So from where I left off, WWE doctors were basically saying Charlotte's pregnant, she can't wrestle, she's got to stay off TV. Then they went to a pharmacy doctor to see if this was actually true, and turned out it's not true, and she's not pregnant after all. So I have no idea what's going on with Charlotte Flair, but this is the big one for me that happened in the Andrade interview. Andrade revealed that he denied $3 million a year from WWE. He denied it. You know what I have to say about that, folks? Good for Andrade. Good for Andrade that he was man enough. He takes the Jon Moxley route. I bet you Andrade did not even read the contract. He was offered to go back down to NXT. He said, I feel like that would be taking a step down from where I want to be. So he denied the NXT offer. He denied the $3 million. I just feel like he just wanted to get the hell out of WWE, and he did not want to be there. So this is somebody who wants to achieve a goal in the wrestling business, and somebody who wants to achieve a goal in the wrestling business, and he realized that it wasn't going to happen in WWE. So what he had to do was he had to leave the company, take a chance, go somewhere else, and I think he can easily sign with another company. So this absolutely tells me that he took the Jon Moxley route here. Good for Andrade. Good for Andrade to stand up. And he actually said that there should be more superstars in the locker room. He knows there is more that are not comfortable with their position and want opportunity, but they're afraid to speak up. Ricochet. Ricochet, if I had to say one of those people, Ricochet is probably one of those people. I'm just throwing it out there. But I'm very happy for Andrade. That means that he's taking he wants to rather have a better career in the sport that he loves so much than to get paid handsomely for $3 million a year to sit in catering and do absolutely nothing and throw away years and years and years of his wrestling career. So that's all I got to say about that. Finally, this is the last thing that I got on the podcast today, and I wanted to save this for last because, man, oh man, everybody on the internet was talking about this yesterday. Everybody was talking about this. It was announced. It was a tweet from the WWE Network account that the next guest of Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skulls session is going to be none other than AEW's own Chris Jericho. Yes, you heard me right. Chris Jericho on the Broken Skull session, a WWE show. This is the first time since, I believe, 2017 that Chris Jericho is going to be on a WWE show. And he as a wrestler for a different company. And you know what? You know what's weird about all of this? You would think that Vince McMahon would not approve this at all. He'd be like, oh, why would we have a talent outside of our company? You know, why would we have a talent outside of our company just come on in and be one of our guests on a Stone Cold show? But Vince was all cool with it. Steve Austin texted Vince McMahon. He said, I want to get Jericho on the show. I feel like he'd be a good guest, and I feel like it could be a very good Broken Skulls podcast. And he was like, and Vince McMahon was like, go ahead, it's cool. And then he texted him again to make sure that Steve Austin could have Jericho on the show. And Vince gave him the thumbs up. And then Tony Khan, he approved that as well. And then AEW actually retweeted. They actually retweeted the post from the WWE Network that, you know, Chris Jericho would be on Steve Austin's podcast. If you had told me in 2021 that Chris Jericho would be on a WWE show, I would literally laugh in your face. But here we are. Here we are with Chris Jericho back on, for just probably for this show, of course. Back on a WWE show, the Broken Skull session. I love Broken Skulls. I rarely talk about it on here, but the last one with Randy Orton, honestly, that was probably my favorite Broken Skull session. That one and the one with Drew McIntyre. And The Undertaker, of course, where he talked about his old character and his days in the 90s and stuff like that. Those are my favorite Broken Skull sessions. I actually love the show, but Randy Orton's my favorite Broken Skull session probably so far. But for those of you thinking, oh my God, this is the forbidden door, WWE and AEW, they're going to work together and they're going to destroy the wrestling business. Slow your roll, calm down, and stop right there. AEW and WWE have two different mindsets. Okay? Would you honestly want AEW to work with the WWE? No. No, I would not. I don't want that at all. It sounds cool. Yeah, it sounds cool, but I would not want AEW to work with the WWE. I would not want them to do that. Unless Tony Khan is taking over both companies. And we got the shows on Dynamite that we got on Raw and SmackDown, but I'm just wasting my time talking about that. So why even bring that up? But this is not the Forbidden Door. This is not WWE and AEW possibly working together. This is just two friends. Because Jericho's friends with Austin, and Austin's friends with Jericho. This is simply just going to be two friends sitting down, having a drink, talking about the old days, talking about the Jericho's old days in the WWE, He's probably going to talk about Fozzy and his and lots of music. I doubt AEW even gets brought into this. And if it does, it should be interesting. But I don't think it does. I think this is just going to be a sit-down interview of two friends talking it out about old days in WWE, Fozzy, and it'll be a good time. And it's probably going to be the most watched Broken Skull session, I think. It's already got a lot of intrigue. It was trending all day yesterday. WWE and AEW were trending. Again, these people that think, oh, WWE and AEW, the forbidden door has officially opened. Slow your roll and calm down. But this is gonna be fun. You bet your ass I'm gonna watch or I'm gonna listen to this Broken Skull session while I'm in Tampa. And it should be a good one, man. It should be a good Broken Skull session. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up episode 5 of the Big Fight Fuel podcast here today. I want to thank each and every one of you who tuned into the podcast today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, man. Like I said earlier, we have lots and lots and lots of content next week. I cannot wait for it any longer. It is WrestleMania week almost, one of my favorite weeks of the entire year. And I can't wait to bring you guys all of this content next week on the channel. I seriously cannot wait. I'm very excited. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're 24 subs away from 400 subscribers, so make sure you subscribe for all the content next week. Comment down below. What are your thoughts about everything that I talked about here today on the podcast? Do you about the whole Jericho being on Broken Skull session, WrestleMania Smackdown next week, what The Miz said about Vince McMahon, the whole Andrade stuff, all of that down below. Let me know what you think about those topics down below. Hit that like button if you like what you heard from me in the podcast today. And, of course, follow me on Twitter, at Conlin_Joseph. I hope all of you watching this, I hope you have a happy, healthy, and safe Easter Sunday tomorrow. I hope you all have a great holiday with your families. And just take a day to relax, have fun, and spend time with your families, man, because next week is going to be one hectic week. It is going to be absolutely hectic. But I'm getting out of here today. Have a good day, guys. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy.